once again and good afternoon. You're welcome to the image series with John Senaya. It's getting more and more exciting every week. And guess what? This will be the last episode for the month of October. I'm sure that by now, most of you are almost like getting very comfortable with public speaking. Because on this program, we teach you little tips and tricks of the trade. Today, our episode is going to cover making an impression. And you know what that means? Making an impression as you get out on stage, as you take control of your audience, and as you take charge of your presentation. I should remind you also that this program is specially designed for my good friends, the small and medium scale enterprises, for masters of ceremonies, for office executives, people who interface with clients, have presentations, sales pitches, and stuff like that. We're also talking to politicians. Of course, you know we talk to politicians. This is their season. And did I leave out my good
Men
friends?
of God,
Men of God, the pastors, and my good friends,
the comedians.
the comedians. So you're welcome once again, and I'd like to welcome my good friend who has always been with us week in, week out, Ayo. You're welcome.
Hi everyone.
Hi. So hi everyone. Like I said, today we'll be talking about making an impression, and where do we start? I'd like to let you know first that presentations really don't have to be a headache. It shouldn't be a torture for anyone. And with the little tricks and tips that I'm going to give you today, you should be comfortable with your confidence level as you go onto the podium. Now, don't let the fear of public speaking derail you. You're expected to remain composed from the beginning to the end. So don't get rattled. I think in the past editions we've talked about the fact that the audience wants you to win anyway. And we've also given you tips on how to even win before you start. So at this time, getting in front of a group of people to make your case or telling your story should always be an ideal opportunity for you to make your impression. I want you to seize the opportunity each time you go out onto the podium, and that's what makes a public speaker a fantastic one. Ayo,
Yes, boss.
I hope that you don't have too many questions for me today. Last week you rattled me. You rattled me a bit.
Well, for now, I don't have a question. I have an observation. There was a study, I think, a few years back, where they asked a lot of people that to choose between speaking in public on the podium and dying, and 90% chose death
Yes.
over public speaking.
Yes.
So and that's how bad it is.
That's how bad.
That's
it
how
is.
bad it is. But we are telling you, it's not worth dying for.
Well, yeah, okay. Maybe it's not worth dying for, but what makes it so difficult for a lot of people? I said last week that it's those baggages that you carry from home, from the environment onto the podium that makes it so hard for people to perform when they get onto the podium. It's the fear of failure. You know, the fear of failure gives you the jitters, it gives you the nerves, it freezes your brain, it jacks up your adrenaline, it jacks up your blood pressure, and that's what makes a mess of your presentation, not you. So if you can put all of that baggage aside, then and then even the fear of embarrassment, will they will they say yes? Will they say no? What will
Will
they
they
say?
clap for
Will
me?
they clap for me? Will I be good enough?
Will they boo me off
Will
the
they
stage?
reject me? You know, those are the things that you know would make you nervous, like we've said in the past, and stop you from cutting the right impression.
Yes.
Because if you imagine yourself before the presentation on your own, yes, you have that confidence, but over time, the anxiety of getting on stage, the anxiety of the fear of rejection really would make a mess of you. So, and you know, it's very important that you cut the right impression. They say that first impressions last. So
Yes.
from the entry point onto the podium to the end of the presentation, you have to keep your spirit high. You have to always cut that positive image with the audience. So yes, you're right. The research that was carried out showed that over 90% of people will rather die
Than speaking public.
than speak in public. I also said in the past, I hope you remember, that everyone has nerves when it comes to speaking. It's how you conceal it, it's how you handle it that matters. One key thing, again, which I should let you know, is yes, you have the nerves, you're nervous, but don't let it show. Don't admit it openly, too openly, that you're nervous. Yeah, it's natural to be nervous, you know. Don't don't talk about it. It's better not to talk about it. It will shift. It will
Focus.
shift the focus, you know, from what you're about to say to how you are feeling. You know, that's the kind of impact that it has on the audience. So we're always talking about the nerves. So that's the first thing that you need to do to be able to cut the right impression.
Okay.
Any more research findings? No more
For
research
now, no
findings.
more
No
research
more research
findings.
findings.
But you know, I used to see some people. You know, they come on stage, they are giving probably impromptu or an opportunity to talk,
Yeah.
and the first thing they say is, "I hope you don't mind. I'm a bit nervous, but I'll do my best in making this speech." And some people will say it's okay to admit your weakness.
Yes, it's okay to admit your weakness. All right, fine. But what we're trying to say is don't make a meal of it.
Oh, okay.
You know, you can make fun of yourself. You can say it in a fun way.
Yeah.
That oof, you know,
Mm.
and the audience will understand. You know, but as soon as you get onto the podium, or as soon as you face
Audience.
your client's team or your audience, no matter how small it is, it's always best to put your speech in the right perspective.
Okay.
You know, get real about it. You know, the end from the entry point, get real about it. Let them know why you are the one who's speaking rather than
So
anyone
anyone
else.
else.
So that gives you a little more respect with them. And you know, when you get respect, already you're cutting the right impression with the client. Um, I want you to also know that there's very little chance that you will please everyone, you
Yes.
know, at every outing. So it's important to know that well, as for as long as you can sway the bulk of the audience, that'll just be fine. Now, focus less on your fears. You know, I don't know how you're going to. I don't know how you're going
That
to
was
do that.
that was my first question.
Yes, focus
How
less.
how can I be going to stand in front of Dracula and you're telling me that I should pretend he's not there?
Yeah,
And I'm going to
you really must pretend it's not there. And I think in the
Okay.
past episodes we already dealt about things that you need to do.
Okay.
You need to put yourself psychologically, physically in the right frame. Okay, I'll go over it again. Now, to put yourself in the right frame of mind psychologically, you know, try and forget about those things that are bothering you. All right? Um, sing. I told you that I would sing to myself
Okay.
in my car on the way to the presentation or to the event. I will do some breathing exercises.
Okay.
And I said the other day that you breathe from the stomach and not from the chest. Okay? So that it allows you to relax. I also said that you do some vocal
Vocal exercises like
exercises. Part of it will be the singing.
okay.
Another one will be um, you face the mirror. Okay,
Okay.
face the mirror, and you do some tongue exercises. You can go brrrr,
Blah, blah, blah.
ah. So you're exercising the tip of your tongue to the back of your tongue. It's like, like I said, it's like getting ready for a soccer match,
Okay.
right? Before
You have
the
to do
game
some
itself
stretching.
starts. Yeah, you do some stretching exercises, some running exercises. You get your adrenaline level normal. You put your blood pressure
Okay.
where it should be. All right. And then I also talked about meeting and greeting.
Greeting.
Meet and greet your friends or make friends. Meet
Mhm.
and greet your audience and make them your friends. Because I'll remind you, the reason you're doing that is if you meet about 6, 7, 8 people before
The main
the
talk.
event, right? They're likely to be positioned at different points of the
Podium.
of the hall,
Okay.
right, or within the audience. So during your presentation, you would only need to connect with each of these people sitting in the different places to feel comfortable,
Yeah.
because you already met and greeted them at the beginning
Beginning.
of the event, so they're like friends to you already. So they become like the positive points, that you will tap into during your presentation. So now, don't be afraid of a moment or two of silence when you freeze up.
Would you know it's a moment or two at that time?
Yes.
It will seem like 1 hour of
It,
silence.
it may seem like 1 hour, but I tell you, most of the time,
Mm.
it's not more than a few seconds. Okay.
Okay.
Now, don't be too worried about that. Okay. You can afford to pause, to either get your breath back or to get your thoughts back. Within that period, you can do your eye contact stuff. Look
Okay.
from one angle to the other to get your thoughts back. Okay. And also, don't stay fixated to
On
one
one
point
spot.
unless you can't help it. Okay. Try and move around. Try and connect with your audience. Okay. And that way, you make yourself relaxed, you make yourself confident, and that transmits onto
The
your
audience.
audience. Another thing I would want to talk about, which a lot of us get wrong, is that whenever you have a speech prepared, you read it. What we
Okay.
advise to make the right impression with your audience, you see, you have to transmit knowledge to your audience.
Okay.
So what we try to encourage people to do is we get you to know your stuff, the content,
Know your content.
okay? And then rather than read every word of your presentation, it will be better for you to speak it. So don't read your script, speak your script. And when we say speak your script, we mean read bits of it, the high points of your speech. You can have them penciled down in a little
Okay.
corner, right, where they just come as highlights. You speak it and not read it. That gives out the positive
Vibes.
positive vibes to the audience. So, yeah, I talked about making eye contact earlier, but I really think I need to emphasize this. When you make eye contact with your audience, it's the fastest way to connect with them.
Okay.
Okay?
That's true.
It's the
but-
fastest way to arrest them.
Yes. But now, scenario 2.
Yes.
Young me in a crowd of.
Young you.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not so old yet. In a crowd of people, retirees. Yes.
Yes.
And I'm going to talk to them. And our
Yes.
culture says
Yes.
you don't look an elder in the eye.
Okay, that's your culture.
Our culture in Nigeria here,
Okay.
you don't look at that. They see it as disrespectful
Okay.
when you look somebody older than you in the eye.
Okay.
So how does making eye contact work there?
I'm
Because
learning.
I have been in scenarios where it happened.
Yes, I'm learning. I'm learning a lot from you. That you don't look your elders
No.
straight in the eye.
That's why you see some people growing up in such
that
an
is your
environment,
culture.
they grow up looking down.
That is your culture.
Mm.
The culture of public speaking
You look everybody in the eye.
recommends that you look people in the eye. But that was a joke, really.
Okay.
I remember also saying in the past that if you can't handle it,
Mm.
you can look slightly
Okay.
above
like
the
at the
head.
forehead.
Yes, at the forehead. So if you can't handle it, or now that you've brought in the cultural angle, if you feel so strongly about the culture, just look, you know,
At the forehead.
at the forehead. Maybe I should also sneak this in at this time. When you do your meet and greet, okay, you have your firm handshake like that, and you look
In the eye.
into the eyes of the recipient, so to
Yes.
speak. If you also want to toast,
Okay.
right, because we regularly come across these scenarios. If you want to toast, you raise your glass and you look
In the eyes.
into the eyes of the other person.
What
So-
if they are more than?
Yeah,
Just
each
pick
person,
somebody's
yeah,
eye.
if you're toasting and you're toasting to the person standing next to you, you look straight into the person's eyes.
And make it toast.
Yeah, but if you're leading the toast, of course
Okay.
you will look generally at people. So tell me, would you toast to your grandfather successfully?
I would look at his, I will do it successfully now. I'll look at his forehead and
Yes.
give him a toast.
Yes. So the basic point is that it's important for us to emotionally and
Connect.
intellectually connect with the audience as early as possible. There's even another trick. If you master your first few lines, maybe your first 4-5 lines
Okay.
of your presentation or of your speech, it helps. All right? So that you go upstage and you comfortably speak the first 4 or 5 lines,
Word for word.
word for word. You put it up there, okay? So you just come and reel it out, and you don't have to refer to any little notes or whatever. It helps. It helps to make you more comfortable,
Okay.
confident, and it also makes it easier for the audience to believe that you are actually prepared for what you're doing. As a former writer, I used to be a copywriter.
Okay.
I know that the best presenters would use written notes and hide them in places where they'll find them easily. And yeah, that's about
Writing it
writing things down, and in a large enough font, something you can easily see at a glance. Did I tell the audience that we're on Click TV Africa?
We almost missed it.
We almost
We
missed
almost
it,
missed
but
it.
I'm sure that by now they know that this is the Image series with John Senaya. I'm with you every Wednesday at 12 noon. And we also have our social media handles. You'll find us on Instagram. You'll find us on, remind me,
Twitter,
on Twitter,
on Facebook.
And we're indeed going places.
We are going far.
We're even on,
We're on
YouTube. We're on YouTube now.
Yes.
So all you have to do is find the Image series with John Senaya, and you'll be able to plug into some of the previous editions that we have done. So, what else now? At this point, yes, I was going to say to you that at subsequent programs, we're going to bring you people who have found themselves in different situations of having to either do presentations or to speak publicly. And I will be the one asking them questions
Yes.
so that they can answer us and give us what you find to be maybe real life experiences. So that's going to come up very soon. We will promote that
Calling.
ahead, right? Yeah, you were saying something?
I said, what about calling? I know there's somewhere in between that they should be able to call in and let's hear them
Oh
live.
yes, oh yes.
Yes.
We have had a few requests for call in, and of course, yes, the audience, you will be able to call in and ask me questions directly, or ask the guests questions directly about public speaking. I hope our pastors are there, our masters of ceremonies, our comedians, our favorites,
politicians.
our politicians.
And this is the time.
This is the
This
time.
is the season.
Yes. Our favorites. I was nudging you. I was nudging you to say our favorites. Know who our favorites are?
Which
The
one?
small,
The SMEs.
the SMEs. That's actually Ayo's favorite.
Yes, so
The
I'm in love with them.
yes. Because Ayo said to me the other day that, yeah, he works with SMEs a lot. And most times they find themselves in a big fish eat small fish situation where they have to do presentations in relatively huge environment, where maybe a blue chip client wants them to do something, and they go there already with a phobia,
Serious one.
serious phobia. But I tell you, it's with practice, you should be able to down any of the giants. You know about
Climb every mountain.
You know about David
The Goliath.
and Goliath. It still happens.
It still happens every day.
It still happens. So it's important that you practice anyway. You practice on your own. You may be a one-man, two, three-man team. The key is for you to practice and to, get your blood running the right way before every presentation. When you meet some people who are referred to as orators, it's not as if they don't have the nerves, but they have learned, possibly from image series, they have learned a few tricks about how to go out there and how to do it right. So practice is very important. Stand in front of the mirror, read your presentations out loud to yourself. You can get your family members and friends to agree on what you've done.
Yes.
Have you done it right? You can get your wife.
Yeah.
I'm not sure my wife will agree, but I can try.
I was at a program, RMD.
Yes.
Do you know the popular RMD?
Yes.
He said growing up, as in growing up in the industry.
Yes.
So he used to stand in front of the mirror and talk to himself.
Yes.
Like a movie scene.
Yeah.
They thought he was mad. Everybody asked him that, come, there is a pastor somewhere that can pray over this thing.
Yes.
And all that. And, when I heard it, I remember that. But that is what the industry says.
That's
Speak in the mirror, but somebody is telling me I need to say a psychologist, I mean a psychiatrist, overdoing it.
Speak in the mirror. Speak in the mirror. You'll also find that this is a little deviation. That sometimes if you light a candlestick, light a candle in front of you. Some of us have some very bad habits, which we have, what do you call it, H factors. We have the H factors where you put your H sound in the wrong place, right?
Okay.
So you put a candle in front of you, and when you have a word like house, where the H is supposed to come out, your candle light is supposed to flicker. Okay. But where you say house, all right, the flickering
will be less.
Will be very little. So that's how you get to know
pronunciation.
If you get to work on those factors. We're not talking elocution. We're not talking about voice control today. But I'm sure that the image series will take us there very soon. For now, we're talking about practicing. I was saying that you can get your family and friends to be there with you. You can also record yourself.
Okay.
I have one or two friends. I call them friends. They're actually my clients. And what I do is I get them to record themselves at any speaking event. Then we can do a review after the event. So those are the little things you can do to help your your speech, and not only help your speech, also help your confidence
Yes,
level.
confidence.
I already talked about breathing. Breath exercises are very important. It calms down the nerves. So always remember to breathe correctly during your speech, before
During.
the speech,
Okay, before
during
the
your
speech.
your speech. They always say that fear, is excitement without breathing.
Okay.
Yes, fear is excitement.
Breathless moment.
Yeah, breathless. Then it'll be wise to visualize yourself speaking. Always try and visualize yourself speaking. It's like getting on a private stage
Okay.
yourself, and look at yourself standing erect, smiling at the mirror, or smiling at the camera, pausing at the right places, engaging your audience. Try and do a workout.
Okay.
With all of these postures and things.
And
Yes.
gesticulations.
And it really works. It works a lot for especially CEOs. Before you meet your staff.
Your staff.
So it's important that you do all of that. And then I also think you should always think about the audience. Think about the audience. Think about your speech to the audience. When I'm talking about X, Y, Z. This is how I'm going to put this point across. This is how I'm going to move on to the next point.
Okay.
And tell them, play through it. Play through it. Tell them little stories around it. Even if you make mistakes,
Okay.
right? People probably won't even notice that you've made a mistake. So just play around. You can even play around your mistakes. I'll tell you what. A stammerer.
Okay.
A stammerer can remain a stammerer for a long time, right? But if you admit that you are a stammerer, okay, and you make fun of yourself as a
Okay.
stammerer on stage, it helps you. It even helps you reduce the rate of your stammering. So you be relaxed, play through your presentation, your delivery, and you'll find that when you realize that nothing bad has happened, it even makes you a lot
Relate
more
to the audience.
it makes you a lot more comfortable. That really will be my parting
Story.
advice for today. That make sure that you enjoy yourself. Okay?
Have fun.
Have fun. And of course, we'll be having fun every week on the Image series with John Senaya. We're on Click TV Africa, and you can get us on our social media as well: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook,
And YouTube.
YouTube, and it's growing.
Mm-hmm.
It's growing, and very soon we're going to give you the lines, that you can call us on, because I know that people are raring to ask questions. Speaking publicly has never been easy for everyone, and I can tell you that I've been doing it for several years, and I know that each time I face the audience, I have some butterflies in my tummy, but the important thing, like I say to you all, is don't let it show. Ayo, I hope you've enjoyed yourself.
I had fun.
I have thoroughly enjoyed myself
had
this
fun.
week. Next week, we are going to talk about something even more interesting than this. I won't give you the topic yet. I'll only let you know that it's all about public speaking.